Yes. Hey everyone, it's your girl Kibo, and today I'm with my guest,
KP
KP
Sparks.
Sparks. So she was on my very first podcast, and I'm sorry I didn't do a proper intro. It was my first time having a guest, but basically, KP Kimberly Palmer, she has a YouTube channel and an Instagram where she encourages everyone to pursue their passions with a sprinkle of tech. Yeah, with a sprinkle of tech. So yeah, and to pursue your passions basically. So yeah,
Yeah.
you'll link everything at the end. But yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to give people a little bit, about what you do. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So on my last podcast, I talked about living on your own and basically, some pros, some cons, some things people
Mm-hmm.
should think about. And there was an aspect of the podcast that I felt like you could relate with. And that was
Okay.
basically we do live together, guys.
Literally.
Yeah, we do we do live
We're
together.
cousins. We have an
Yeah,
organization together. Do a lot of things
yeah,
together.
do everything together. So yeah, I felt like there was an aspect of the podcast that she could relate with, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a lot of other people could relate to as well, but people don't talk about it. And I want to talk
Yeah.
about the things that people don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much leaving your home because it could be a little bit chaotic, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
it could be a toxic or an unhealthy environment, however you define that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you could feel like at home. So I felt like Kim would be, she could relate to this. And I
Yeah.
wanted to invite you on the podcast to share your side,
Mm-hmm.
share your story with
Mm-hmm.
people, and how that idea came about. So Kim, about
Yeah.
I feel like maybe this was like 2016, 2017. I asked you a question,
Yes.
and I said, Kim, do you ever see yourself like living on your own? And what was your response?
My response was for what? I'm okay living. I know you have an American subscriber, so let
No,
me
you
speak it.
can be
Okay.
comfortable.
My response is like, for what? Like, for what? Like, why do I need to live on my own? I'm okay. My house is at peace. Like, and I don't have to pay rent. I help out with bills here and there, but I'm fine. Like, I'm
Yeah.
completely okay. I have my own studio in the basement for when I want to record. Like, it's just smooth and gravy. Like,
Yeah,
everything is
yeah.
cool over here. So that was my response back then.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was over there because she needed help to set up her dresser. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what led me to ask, okay, I see that you're redecorating your room. Like, do
It
you
was
see?
only for my channel though. That's the only reason why. For
Yeah,
aesthetic purposes.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, do you see, you're decorating? Do you see how long do you, because you're investing in this room, now that you're
Yeah.
home. We both graduated in the same year. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. Can you talk to us a little bit about how like your family dynamic was and how you decided, it was best for you to kind of like be on your own?
So basically the trigger that led me to say I want to move, basically that's what you're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like I've always lived with a lot of people in my house, and it's always been, my family's fun. Like Chelsea grew up coming over my house. Like my grandmother used to babysit her, which is, a lot of people don't know about that, but yeah,
Yeah.
we are
Cousins.
actually cousins. So it's
Yeah.
always been a lot of people in the house. So that wasn't anything new. But I think towards a little bit after I graduated, somebody moved in, and I've gotten into arguments with my mom before. We kiss
Yeah.
and make up at the end. Same with my
Yeah.
grandmother, but with this person, it was just very toxic. Like, very toxic. I never saw myself moving out for what. I was kind of scared. I'm like,
Yeah.
because Chelsea lived on her own. I'm like, I don't know how you doing it, girl, but it's not for me. But there was a situation that happened that, like, I was called out of my name multiple times,
Mhm.
and it led me, because my dad passed when I was 15, so it was a male that called me out of my name. And it wasn't any abuse or anything like that, but it was a verbal abuse.
Verbal
It
abuse.
sounds extreme, but I have to
You
be
have to
honest
call
with
things by
myself.
their name.
Yeah, I have to be honest with myself. So it led me into like somewhat of a depression. Being at home, I wasn't happy. And, your home is your safe haven. Like, you come and you relax. For me,
Uh-huh.
I was like at home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't enjoy being here. I feel like unseen. I feel like taken advantage of. And I wasn't the type of person to, like, just take it all in. The weird
Mhm.
thing about me is, like, I'm so like open with my words. So like when I was like being talked down on, I was saying like, no, but I appreciate everything you do. Like, I don't know why you think I'm like, I was being called a wolf in sheep's clothing, literally. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know where you're getting this from, but that's not me.
Yeah.
And I, not having a father figure and not being a male, it took a toll on me. And I was in the hotel, Chelsea. I said, I'm doing this in July. I'm going. Like, nobody can stop me. Like, I promise you, nobody can stop me. And I still, like, I'm not an impulsive, like, decision maker. So, like,
Yeah.
we were in, like, May. So I was like, okay, July, that's when
Yeah.
I'm going to move. But I ended up moving in August. And surprisingly,
Yeah.
I'm moving
And I
with
feel like
Chelsea.
there was kind
Yeah.
of different things that led up to that. And that's how I kind of
Yeah.
knew that you were not being impulsive, because
Yeah.
it's like I feel like the first time it's like, okay, when anything happens in your life and
Yeah.
your emotions like start to take you, it's like you're angry or you're sad. It's like
Yeah.
immediately you
Mhm.
want to do something drastically.
Yeah.
But then after it keeps things keep happening,
Mhm.
you have to kind of get level headed when you're out of those emotions. With that
Yeah.
being said, do you want to talk about like any red flags
Red
in
flags.
general? Yeah, like any red
Mhm.
flags, something that stood out to you that was like, yeah, I definitely cannot like
Yeah.
be here.
Red flags for me, I would say if you're at home and you're sad for no reason, that is a red flag. If you're with someone that like, okay, I get in disagreements with my roommates all the time. Like I live with Chelsea and I are both very, very outspoken, and then our other roommate is becoming very outspoken as well. So all of us are very outspoken. So we get into all the time, but we can talk it out. But if you're
Mhm.
living with someone that's just unfair, like in how they deal with disagreements or arguments, I feel like that's a red flag, because like your room or your home should be a place where you're at peace. Like that's my rule of thumb. Like when I come back to my apartment, I'm like breathing out like, wow, I am home. It doesn't, when I was at my previous location that I called home, I just was sad and I was just like, I don't want to be here.
Mhm.
And if it's a case where, because I spoke to my mom, but it was one of those situations, like Africans are so big on like, and I love my mom, like, but Africans
Mhm.
are really big on taking people in, and the family staying together and everything like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm an adult now, so I can make a decision if I want to stay in this. I don't have to stay here. My mom
Yeah.
was talking to me about like, oh, are you sure you don't have someone that you're like, what? What's going on? You're moving out. You're not even married yet. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this is, if my mental health is like at risk, like I just cannot. And I felt it. Like I felt it.
You
So
felt it.
those are a
Yeah.
few red flags that I noticed.
Yeah. So something that you said was like, your home should be like your safe haven, the place where you have the
Yeah.
most peace. And it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of, in my last podcast episode, Fenella said, when you have comfort in your home, you're able to perform well in other areas,
Yeah. Yeah.
and have
Mm-hmm.
peace of mind, and feeling freedom. Do you
Yeah.
relate to that at all?
I relate to that 100%, because like I would have friends over and then they would be cool with this person that like disrespected me, and I'm like, sis, just don't even look their way, because they're not even like I was ignored for like a month and a half. Like I would
Mm.
legit, and
Oof.
it's not like I was doing it back. It was like, hey, good morning. I think I'm not there. And it hurt so badly on Father's Day. I'm like,
Mm.
I am trying to love unconditionally, God, but this really hurts. Like, do I have to be here? Like, is this really my cup to bear? Or like, can I actually like, are you showing me a way out of this? So I can definitely relate to that, because it was just like, I have friends over. We can't even joke the way we want to joke. We're looking over our shoulder like, this
Yeah.
person is, causing
Yeah.
wahala, and then it's not even just me. It was just, that's how they wilded out on everyone in the house. And I'm like, look, as far as me and my house
Yeah.
or future house, that's not how I go about
Yeah.
things. Like, that's not how
Yeah.
I go about things. I'm an adult and I can decide if I want to stay here or not. So I can relate to that.
Yeah. So it's very interesting how like now we're living together, but
Yeah.
the first time we actually kind of talked about this,
Oh
and
yeah.
little do you know that your conversations will somehow reappear later on in your life
Yeah.
or make an impact. But there was a time where like I was staying with someone as well, and basically we started to have problems in the house, and
Mm.
that's their house. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pack my stuff and I'm gonna be out your way,
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I went about it in a very impulsive manner because
Mm-hmm.
it's been years since I had to figure out, like, I mean, when you're at college, like, and I stayed on campus, okay, you come home
Yeah.
for the summer or stuff like that. But like now,
Yeah.
like we
We're home. We're home.
graduated,
Home.
we
Yes, that's
home.
what changed. Yeah.
Yeah,
We home.
we
Home.
home
Yeah.
home. So I'm like, okay, if I'm in this person's space or
Mhm.
whatever, and they are behaving very passive aggressive, not speaking to me. I dealt with the same thing. Not
That's
speaking to
that's
me.
the rudest thing someone
Um
can do in your
yeah,
house. That
not
is
speaking
not
to
nice.
not speaking to me, speaking to other family members
Yeah.
about whatever was going on. But I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
I'm right here. Speak to me. What's wrong?
Yeah.
You know, I can visually see that things were wrong. So at the instant, I literally packed all my stuff and I was out of that place.
Mm.
And I texted Kim, I was like, hey girl, I know it's been a while,
I
but can
remember.
I come? I said, I was thinking, I was like, where can I go? Like, where can I go right now that, wouldn't
Yeah.
be, I didn't want to go to another family member's house just to kind
Mhm.
of remain neutral. Well,
Mhm.
on my father's side of the
In
family,
your
Kim's on
father's
my
side,
mom.
yeah.
Yeah, Kim's on my mom's side
Mhm.
of the family. So I just didn't want to, because then it's like, oh, if I go stay with another cousin or something, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, do you know what Chelsea did?
Yes, it's because you brought her in. Yeah, and now you're
Yeah.
including the argument. Ah, I
Yeah,
can
so I was like,
see.
I want to kind of remain neutral, and I
Yeah.
contacted Kim and I was like, hey girl, like I didn't even
Mhm.
explain nothing. I just said, please, can I come sleep over? She didn't even hesitate. She said, sure, no problem. I was like, oh,
Cause
okay.
I've had to do that with friends as well. They know who they are. I had to
Yeah,
look. I have to go over your house right now because I cannot be home.
yeah,
It's a
man.
lot.
That's like, as I'm saying that, I just feel so like, I feel so peaceful because I'm like, she didn't even ask me, like maybe how I would have asked some or grilled someone like, you need to come stay, or she didn't even ask nothing. She just said, girl, yes, come on. And when I went over there, I just told her what was going on. I was
Mhm.
just like, yeah, like I just needed peace of mind. And can you
Yeah.
imagine where you live? You have to leave where that is. That's peace
Yeah.
of mind to
That's
find that
it's
somewhere else and
It
someone
doesn't even
else's
make
peace of mind.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense. And that's
Mhm.
when Kim and I like were talking about that, and
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I gotta have like a game plan. Like as soon as I get a job that pays me enough, my friend, I'm out of there. Like I'm
My
out of there.
dear, I gotta bless.
Yeah, I got to get out of there. And unfortunately for me, I didn't have that. I would say glory day. I didn't have that day. I did not have that day where I was like, thank you so much for allowing me to stay
Mm,
here.
yeah.
And now I'm ready to go and move on. Unfortunately,
Mm,
I got put out. And yeah, I
mm,
sometimes still struggle with thinking about why it happened,
yeah.
being that it was a family member. So
Mhm.
it's sometimes hard to think about, but I always knew that I could relate with Kim because we
Yeah.
literally had the same
The
situation
same
going on.
exact.
Yeah. And when I talked
Yeah.
to Kim, I really thought that Kim was gonna like be, as I would say, shook. Like I thought she was gonna be really shook with what I was gonna say. But sis was like, girl, the same thing happened here, And I was like, what? You too? you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know. I just really found comfort in talking to you about that. And
Mhm.
over the years, I mean, I think 2 years later, we decided
Yeah.
to actually live together.
And it was
Does that sound
random how that happened. Even us, even though we're cousins, it was random how it happened. Like I feel like that was God ordained how it happened. To be quite
yeah,
honest, because I was
yeah,
trying, but then it wasn't working out, and then it just happened. I'm like leasing office called me, so
yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah.
God.
And that's the thing too. Like you have to think, okay, like because of this situation, do I want to stay by
Hmm.
myself? Do I want to stay with other
Yes, real
people?
thoughts.
I feel like you kind of have trust. You kind of feel like you have trust issues in a sense because it's like
Hmm.
I don't know who I want to invite into my space again that will make me
Hmm.
feel like I don't have peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say that. I'll just say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody who is living at home in a kind of similar situation that like we were
Hmm.
dealing with?
Oh man, it gets complicated because like on one hand, your peace of mind is important, but on the other hand, can you actually afford this? I knew I could afford living on my own, and that's not to hype my head up or anything like that. I knew I could,
Yeah.
but I just didn't see the benefit of it. And family is so important to me, like
Mm-hmm.
so important to me. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna stay home for now. But I feel like it's a tug of war between peace of mind and also being able to afford it. For me, I could just give advice from my end. Really, before deciding, okay, I'm going to move, look into how much, similar to what you talked about in your last podcast, how much does this cost? How much can I afford? How much can I put away? Can I actually live with other people? Do I have that experience? For me, I left a comment on your other post. Like the first time I moved into college, well, for the school year, I lived in a quad with 3 other people and we shared a bathroom. I lived with 5 other girls before as well. So I'm used to sharing my space. Well, not sharing my actual room, but sharing my space in an apartment. So those are things I had to question myself in. But honestly, if it comes down to your peace of mind, I will encourage anybody to move, because it's not worth it. Like, it's really not worth it. And this is the first time I'm ever talking about it on a platform.
You heard it here first.
Even you. But
that's true.
It's something that really that was a really tough season in my life. Like, I was just like, how am I going to escape this? Like, my other friends that moved out, it's for marriage, it's for, it's for marriage. So like, Kim moving out just cause, that sounds abnormal. Even my mom was confused. But I had to really like lay it down to God and be like, hey, how I feel is real. Like, these are real feelings I'm feeling. And that's what I would give advice to someone. Like, what you're feeling is real. It's not something that you can push under the rug. And if you feel like your mental space or physical space, anything is being attacked, I would look into moving. Like, and if it doesn't work out, if you have the ability, you can always move back home. That's what I tell myself. Like, if it doesn't work out, I can go back home, I have that ability, which is a blessing. Not everybody has that. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. I think that it's abnormal to move out also because, and you said your mom was confused. There are a lot of things in us.
I had a boyfriend. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that are ingrained in us because we're like African, we have foreign parents.
Yeah.
And sometimes we too forget that, like, when our parents moved out, it was because they were,
for marriage.
Marriage, or like, like coming to America, like, you're literally making a huge transformation in your life. And yeah, it's like, okay, if you're gonna move out, you're not getting married, so you're just gonna go and you want to pay rent over there. It's like, and
you have to like really be like, okay, I'm about to be an adult, seriously, because like, when I remember when I would record my content when I was at home, please, I'll stay up until 3 a.m. 4 a.m. What is that? Like, it's simple, it's easy. When I moved, I'm like, oh, so I have to make food.
I think that was one of your biggest transitions. That was one of your biggest transitions.
I said, wow, I have to make food every week. This is crazy. Like, I'm used to my mom cooks, and she'll give me food still, but it's like, I really have to make food every week. I have to make time to like, just even make sure, okay, I'm paying my rent on time, hidden fees. My mom is not looking through things for me. I have to read that joint by myself. Like, even in this whole Corona thing, like, when it comes to getting groceries, we're splitting up as a team to find, okay, who's going to go to Costco in this city? Okay, you got to get off. We have to like team tag. And imagine if I live by myself. So it's another level of adulting. Like, it is. Yeah. It's fun, but it's another level of adulting. Seriously.
Yeah. I would definitely say, to kind of answer my own question, like red flags, or for me, I noticed, like, conflict resolution is huge.
Conflict resolution is so big. Yeah.
If conflict resolution isn't huge, like, it's huge when you live with somebody, because at that point you actually start to learn someone's body language and their cues, and you can tell when they're moody, maybe when they're even upset with you. So that was something that made me uncomfortable, and was like, oh, Chelsea, even though you just graduated, like, you need to get up off your tail and like be serious, because this is real life. And the funny thing was, I was like, if I get put out, like, I'm not really sure where I'm about to go. And that was my worst fear. That was my worst fear. And it actually happened. And when that happened, I had to literally, so I have on my YouTube channel, I actually talked about this, about my depression and feeling suicidal. And it came from that very moment, moment where, my family member was like, I just don't want
I can never get over how wild that was.
It's like, I just don't want you here anymore. No reason. And like, yeah, just please be out in like 30
People don't
minutes.
talk about this happening,
Yeah.
but it really does. I'm gonna put you out. You know, in those like black movies, I'm gonna put you out. It really happens though. It really
Man,
happens.
yeah, it's like, as a matter of fact, can you hurry up because I'm trying to sleep? And I'm like,
That's OC.
I was shook, you know, and
Yeah.
that moment of, if I wasn't an adult, it really like pushed me into like, it threw me into adulthood, because I said, yeah, it pushed me into adulthood, because I was like, you know what? I appreciate anyone who's ever helped me. Because, you know, the passing of my dad was, both of us have lost our fathers, you know, because you mentioned,
and it
like
made us, it pushed us to grow up. Definitely.
Yeah, it really did, because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many things that our dads will just do for us.
Yes.
I'm like, I like the way I'm moving now. I even thought about it. I said, maybe if my dad was here, I would still live at home. Anyway, I'm like, maybe I'm like,
shoot, I know I would.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
but if I was to be independent and make that decision, like, I already know, like, my dad would be in this joint lifting. I wouldn't have to lay a finger on nothing. I wouldn't have
finding
to do
people to move. When you talked about that on the podcast, I'm like, bruh,
something shook in your body. Because that's very
I was
real.
one of the roommates, y'all, because the way we had to move within a week, crazy.
That was really stressful. And I'm like, yeah, like I really do appreciate anyone who's ever helped me.
It means a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it means a lot. But when that experience happened and I kind of had to figure out, I'm like, am I about to be one of those people that like stay in my car or something? I didn't do it. But I took some time off of work, and I was just like, Chelsea, you need to go somewhere and do it quickly. I had a budget. It was really unrealistic, but it worked for me. And I found something that worked within my budget, and I was able to stay there for almost 2 years. Problem free.
That's a blessing though.
Yeah, it was a really big blessing, and it's exactly what I needed. Because there was times where, and from that moment, I realized that I had issues opening up to, I'm sorry, this audio's, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I realized I had issues opening up to people, because I came into, you know, this space and was just so like defensive and like, I don't know if you're going to tell me to get out or do anything, even though I'm paying rent.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It took me a little bit. And it was interesting because where I stayed, like those people were really nice. And I was like,
what happened to you was traumatic though. So that makes sense. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It definitely took me a little bit to, after a while I got comfortable, because now I'm staying in someone else's space, and I'm just like, God, please just, you know, please just keep me here. You know, I got a good thing going.
It's scary though, because it's just like, what if that happens again? Like,
what if it happens again?
It's a scary thing to think about.
Yeah. So I just, honestly, at that point, when, you know, the opportunity to move with Kim happened, I was just more like, I was like, thank you. This was a great living arrangement, a great living situation, and I'm ready to move on. And it was, you know,
they were cool people though.
That. Yeah, they were some cool people. So if you ever, if you're coming home and you were like, that's the place that you don't want to be, that's a problem. Like that's an issue. Problem. Yeah. So you want to spend more time at other people's home than your own.
I was getting to that point though. Like, which is just, I would be over Didi's house all the time. Like I would be there all the time. Like I would. Yeah. And one thing I want to say is that just because you move doesn't mean like you have beef with your parents or anything like that. Like it just helps create boundaries. Because I didn't have issues with my mom, but it was another person that was living there, and I was like, I cannot do this. So in order for me to properly love you, mommy, I need to move, because I'm not happy. Like and it's weird to say to an African, I'm dealing with depressing thoughts. But I told her, I said, mommy, I'm dealing with depression right now because I'm living here. And I had to sit down with my grandmother when she was still here. I said, this is what I'm faced with right now. And this is why I'm moving. I love y'all, and I'm gonna call y'all. I still call them, you know, once a week. Still call my mom once a week, but it's just like, in order for me to love you properly, I have to set this boundary, because I cannot be called out of my name. I didn't grow up like that. My dad didn't. I didn't, even to my siblings. My siblings, when we argue, we'll argue. Come back. And we talk, and we, you know, my brother has written a letter to me even to apologize. So, you know, like, it's just, it's just not how I'd go about dealing. Like in my immediate family, we don't do things like that.
Like
So
that. Yeah. So
yeah.
it was a different experience for
Mm-hmm.
you. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would say like part of being an adult is having clear boundaries and maintaining
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if someone told me this the other day, but like the people who get upset with you having boundaries are the ones that usually benefit from you like not having any boundaries.
Wow.
So
Mm.
yeah, having boundaries and maintaining
Mm-hmm.
them are two different things, because you can have them and it can be
Mm-hmm.
theoretical, but when it's time for that
Yeah.
person to try to cross them, it's like, actually, I'm peaceful. I always say this, I stay peaceful in my house. I don't bother nobody. I mind my
She honestly
business.
always says that.
Yeah, when
I
something
live
happens,
a peaceful life. She loves to
I
say
say I
that.
live a peaceful life. I don't have problems with people. So I'm like, I stay quiet. I stay peaceful, and I really like that. I really do. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of being an adult is just in your home. Like it's not just at home, at work, everywhere. You have to
At
establish
work.
boundaries
Yeah.
with people. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good to learn them, sometimes, experience. We learn it this way, but
Yeah.
it's better that you kind of establish that. And I would just also say that like my mom she's been supportive of my like living arrangements.
Mm.
um yeah, she's in New York. I've mentioned that. I feel like I mentioned that in a
Mm-hmm.
few podcasts, but
Yeah.
yeah, she lives in New York. And as Fenella, shed some light on our last podcast, New York ain't for me, honey. it's
Oh,
too
not for me
it's
either. They can
too
have that.
yeah, I also, it's funny because like I discovered a new side of my mom when she moved to New York. Like she loves being outside. She loves people. Like
It's a
she
fast
vibes
life
with
over
that.
there. City
Yes,
life. Yeah.
she vibes with that. I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I live peaceful. I stay quiet. I like to, live in Maryland. So yeah, she's
Yeah,
been
it's
really
different.
supportive of yeah, me moving and stuff like that. She's like, yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have peace, please be my guest. Be out of
Yeah,
there.
and one thing my mom told me when I moved, she was like, I just trust that, like, it was so sweet though. I just trust that, over these years that you've grown into like a responsible woman. So I trust you and your decision. And I mean, I feel like I've been
Woo.
treated more. Yeah, she
We need
told
to
me
put that
that.
on a t-shirt. What?
Yeah, she told me that because I'm like, Mommy, I hope because Mom was crying. You were there. I mean, we moved out together. They
Yeah.
were just looking outside. Oh, Kimmy, you're moving. Oh, do you want egg? And when we were moving, do you want this? Do you want that?
And
I'm
she
like,
gave her
Mommy,
a
I'm
pot.
okay.
She said she
Yeah, she
wants
gave me a
cassava leaves.
pot. Cassava leaves. That's why I cook my cassava leaves now too. Like, Mommy,
Yeah.
like, I hope you're okay. She's like, I just trust that you're like responsible. And she's treated me like an adult now, like she's treated me like an adult. It's just funny because when they have disagreements, they call me, and that was another boundary that I had to put up. But that's a topic
Yeah.
for another day. But yeah.
Yeah. It's a full circle moment when
Mm-hmm.
your African parents like come around and actually are supportive, because we're
Full
not used to
circle.
seeing
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
at all. Something I wanted to ask you basically was like, I do remember during this time,
Mm-hmm.
as you were like, trying to put your best creative foot forward with your
Yeah.
content, and just keep yourself up. Like, cause you have I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say you have an image to maintain. I don't want to say it that way, but
A platform.
you have a platform. You do have a platform,
Yeah.
but all outside of your platform, you are still,
Mm-hmm.
Kim. And, you
Yeah.
walk around and you carry a smile, and there's things about you that
Yeah.
people, it's like, yeah, this is how Kim is. How did you feel
Mm-hmm.
like during this time trying to keep yourself, while being amongst
Mm-hmm.
other people and amongst different
Yeah.
events or whatever, just thinking
Mm-hmm.
in the back of your head, like, dang, it's time to go home.
Yeah. That's the thing with me. Like, I feel like I'm really good at like, even thinking about it now, I've like, I'm not even attached to how I was feeling back then. Because like, I'm super good at, when I have to go out, I'm super good at hiding, what I am actually going through. Like, literally this morning, I was like, man, Chelsea, you guys have really been dealing with me, and I just can't wait to talk to my life coach. But you see me, I'm smiling. I'm giving you the content that you asked for. So I'm
Yeah.
really good at hiding it. So it wasn't something that like no one would ever know that this happened. If you're not close to me, you don't ever know this happened in my house. You don't know. You just think, oh yeah, Kim moved. But I don't know, man. It might not be a good thing, but I really just continue to be myself. It was
Yeah.
just when I came home, I was like, yo, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this really, 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 really sucks. And I didn't really talk about, I don't talk about that stuff on my platform until like I'm about to move. So like when I was about to move, that's when I'm like, hey, watch me as I'm shopping. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So I think it's a balance between knowing when you're comfortable with like sharing it with others, because I wasn't comfortable then. I wasn't
Yeah.
at all. Like I wasn't. So
Yeah. I think that like, cause you said, yeah, like you're really good at hiding it. If you
yeah.
have close friends, then I think
Close friends know, yeah.
that's necessary, right? Cause I
Mm-hmm.
did have people around me like you, and I told people
Mm-hmm.
what was going on, and I felt like, I mean, they supported me the best way they could.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, yeah, if you don't have anybody, that's when you could really just
Yeah, that's when it's kind of unhealthy.
feel
You're
it,
doing it by yourself.
really, really
Yeah.
feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And something that Carrie Ann said when we actually had the episode about like
Mm-hmm.
therapy during this time, because a lot of people are staying at home with people
Yeah, that's
now
true.
during the
Wow.
quarantine.
Jesus Christ is
At
Lord. I can't even
yeah,
think about that. Yeah.
yeah, people are in, you
Mm-hmm.
know, sometimes either abusive relationships or staying with
Yeah.
family members that they would rather not stay with.
Mm-hmm.
And something that she said was like, you know, having like a safe person, like having other
Yeah.
people you can reach out to, like this person. And I felt like you were that for me. You know, I'm like, I
Aw.
could reach out to
Ditto.
Kim. Yeah, like after not talking to her, we talk to each other every now and then, but like,
Yeah, we
I was
grew
just
up
like,
together, but college we kind of fell off, kind of.
yeah.
But yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I know that with this person, like she
Mm-hmm.
would be in a position, and I know that if I go to her house, I will be welcomed there. It's not like a,
Yeah.
oh, what's going, oh, you know, it's like, yeah, I was welcomed for the one
Yeah.
night that I decided to stay there, and I honestly just needed to clear my mind to think like, what is my
Mm.
next move? What do I want to do?
Yeah.
Even like what Kim said, like she didn't just, as soon as something happened or something triggered her, she didn't just like you know, pack her stuff like I did, but like she didn't just say, oh, she didn't just say, you know what, I'm leaving tomorrow. Like, no, you have to
Yeah.
have a vision for, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is it that you want to do? If you don't want to stay at home, that's okay. Have a game plan. You know, you can't
Yeah.
just go and sign somebody's lease tomorrow. So what is it,
Mm-mm.
you know, what do
No.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I want to move. This is the area I want to move. I want to have a roommate or I don't want to have a roommate, and then take it from there.
Mm.
And that way I feel like you're more level headed as you're making
Yeah.
decisions instead of making emotional decisions. Because what
Emotional
you
decision with man.
yeah, you'll pay for
You'll
that.
be staying in an apartment where roach and rat is if you make an emotional decision.
That, or
Seriously.
I mean, you have two options. You have two extremes. You could either stay in a, because it's like, oh, I just need something now and cheap, or
Yeah.
not actually knowing like the budget of an apartment or a good apartment.
Yeah.
Or you could have just went and took a $2,000-$3,000 apartment and say, man, I have money. It doesn't matter. And you know, but the thing is, like, you're thinking,
3,000? That's
I'm
crazy.
being what's this thing,
Facetious.
dramatic. But
Yeah.
somebody could have just,
Mhm.
someone, when you're not when you're thinking emotionally, you can just
It's
say,
true. Me too. I can do it.
oh, I
Yeah.
have this money in my account. It will come anyway. I'm moving tomorrow. It don't matter. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's like you guys have to have a
Yeah.
vision. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
would say if somebody feels like they're in a toxic situation. And I
Mm-hmm.
know right now is a really difficult time
That's
because
really
it
true. I
is,
didn't even think about that. I don't know why. That's
it's
really true.
it's it's an indefinite thing. We don't know how long this is gonna go on,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I feel
People
like
are still moving though.
people
So
are still
it
moving,
is.
and that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I really just don't like to encourage people to make emotional decisions. So
Yes. Yes.
if
Mm-hmm.
something happens now and it's like the first time it's happening or whatever, don't just
Mm-hmm.
boom, like, no, this is
Mm-hmm.
not the time for that. You don't even know, people
Yeah.
don't even know if they're gonna have their jobs.
Yeah.
We
That's
don't
true.
know. People are still
That's
getting laid
true.
off, people are getting furloughed. Just,
Mm-hmm.
if you can hang tight, you know what I'm saying, or your situation is a little bit more stable financially, like I
Mm-hmm.
would definitely look into moving out, because I can say for myself, peace of mind is priceless. I can't put a
It.
tag on that, a price tag
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. I
it's
agree.
priceless.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what I would do if I was still in that kind of situation where I hated coming home. I
That
just,
was very sobering to think about that right now. Like if I was still living at home in that situation during a pandemic, I just that was very
it'll be
sobering.
two pandemics.
I just
Yeah.
don't know. Wow. This is the first time I'm like thinking like, what if I was still at home? Which I can't
Yeah.
even. Yeah, that was God, because I really don't know what. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. And I'd also say to stay prayerful, because like I know
Yeah.
that's something that like Kim was really, you know, big on. Like, I want to make sure I'm hearing from God on this. and not just going off of what I want to do, because she's like, I know I want to be out of here.
Yeah,
So
and it takes like you to be very humble to be at that place, because there are many times where I'm like, why am I here? Like literally, why am I here? But sometimes it's just like you really, especially when finding an apartment, looking for an apartment, you really have to ask yourself, okay. Especially what stuck out to me was like, who am I staying with? Because I don't want to move and then I move from one thing and I get into another thing, and it's like it doesn't make any type of sense. So yes, stay prayerful, and I feel like God will confirm it to you. Like when I tell you, this is literally what happened. I said, you know what, I'm not getting an apartment. It just was not working out. The leasing office called me, and then one of my friends from college, which is our other roommate, was looking for an apartment. Like her lease was ending, and then Chelsea was like, you know what, because I didn't ask Chelsea because she was already paying a good price at her apartment. So I was like, okay. It was very good. I'm okay, she's probably not gonna move out. But then Chelsea was like, yeah, let's live together. I was like, wow, I'm really about to move. So that's how it happened. So like God can surprise you in the times where like you feel like, oh yeah, this is not gonna happen. Because I literally was just swallowing
He
it.
always sends people.
Yeah. So definitely stay prayerful. Like he will confirm it, man. I believe it.
Yeah. So how do you feel now that it's been basically like 2 years, of you living on your own? What have you learned from that like experience in a nutshell?
I love it. I love living on my own. Like I love having people over. Like before Corona, you know what I'm saying? But
you gotta specify.
I love living on my own, especially like decorating my room. I kind of did it only for my YouTube channel though, which is crazy because like that's how I got into makeup. That's how I kind of like said, okay, I'm going to redo my room. It was only for my backdrop. I'm even looking at because we're doing Zoom call now. I usually record facing the other way. I don't have nothing behind me, but I love decorating my room, and it's just very peaceful. Like the neighborhood we live in now is amazing. Like
it is peaceful.
It's so nice. Like I can't imagine myself, even though I love my mom, I can't imagine moving back home. Like I can't. So I love it. I love it. Yeah. I love the independence as well. It's like, adulting is annoying though, but I'm grateful
it's worth
for
in
it.
some aspects. When you plan it out, it's worth it. That's what I would definitely say. If you just make all these emotional decisions or rush decisions, it can feel like, because there are some people that even may live on their own, but now things are piling up on them, bills, this because they didn't count the cost. And as the Bible said, count the cost.
I never wanted to.
They never looked at that stuff, like how much would it actually cost me, or what would it mean for me to live further away from my job or closer to my job and stuff like that. So people don't really think about that, and now it's like, dang, why didn't I do? And it's funny because people, when they first want to live on their own, they want to live on their own. Nobody.
That's why I really like what Savara said. Like, oh yeah, I just made this. Like, do you want? I do that all the time, and I didn't realize how I eat in really small portions, and I didn't realize it until I moved in with 2 other people, and I didn't finish my food for the week. It was like
we help her finish the food.
So like at this point, I'm like, you guys just take whatever you want. So I really like that he said that, because that helps out a lot. Like sometimes you don't want to go down the street or pick up something, even if you can, and you just want to eat what's at home. So I love that aspect of things as well.
Yeah.
And when I live with a baker, so that's just always a plus. She's always baking something today.
She be baking. She be baking. She about to bake right now. Yeah. So with everything being said, do you have anything else to like close off with, or any final thoughts?
Adulting is ghetto. It's like
it is. We're gonna get that on a shirt.
LOL. It's like no, but final thoughts. I say this all the time at the end of the podcast, but I just want to make people know like they're seen. Like if you were ever looking for a podcast or a platform where like other people talked about like experiences of being put out or living in a toxic situation, you're not alone. Like we've been through it,
been there,
and there's power in sharing your testimony. It's uncomfortable for me to talk about it, but last week I literally told Chelsea, I was like, I think I'm ready. But yeah, you're seen, and just pray about it, and just make decisions. Take it one day at a time. One day you look into, okay, what apartments are in my area? Okay, what city do I want to live in? okay,
Yeah.
how often, like, how is my relationship with my parents going to look like after I move out? Like, how intentional, like stuff like that. So
Yeah.
take it one step at a time, but take intentional steps at a time. So that's what I would say.
Intentional steps.
Someone
I like that.
thank
I
you.
like
That's
that.
someone that's tuning in.
I would agree with that. And I would also say to have accountability. So,
Yeah.
because, as Kim said, we're not alone, but sometimes people do feel like they're alone. And if you make sometimes you make decisions by yourself, you don't have anybody to kind of like check you, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Is there any way to resolve what's going on before?
Right. And I've tried to resolve it, but it was not, and I'm pretty sure you have. So
yes, I agree. That's something we didn't say. Both of us did try to resolve what was going on to make our living situations a little bit more comfortable. But when we say resolve, we don't mean to have 10 conversations. We want to have 1 or 2 conversation. If you don't get it, hey, we gotta go. Gotta go. So I would definitely say have accountability to like kind of bounce ideas off of, and then say, hey, you said you want to move on August 10th. All right, the date's coming up. What have you actually done? Because
Chelsea was helping me a lot. Yeah.
Like apartments don't come to you, so you have to go and look for
I
it.
wish.
So just as Kim said, I never thought about like making intentional steps. If this is what you want to do the 5 or 6 steps to do it, so that in the long run, now during a pandemic, it's like okay, I've done what I need to do, and it's never too late, but at the same time, you definitely want to kind of have that guidance if possible, and accountability.
Do you have any resources or steps that like helped you? Because Chelsea helped me a lot. A lot. Even when we had to move, it was her and Pam. Me, I was doing what was going on. So
so this is, I don't know if it's I don't want to say unpopular opinion or unpopular fact or just a fact. I thrive in chaos. That's
she's calm.
That is me.
Like
I can be anxious when things are normal around other people. Like during this pandemic, I stay quiet. I'm calm. I'm a very calm person. So when other people are, when other people are around me, like I don't know what to do when people cry. God, I don't know what they do when I cry either. But like when people around me are like freaking out, I'm the person that's like, okay, from what you just shared with me, let's take steps. That's just how I am. Google was my source. That's what, I'm like, okay, like, as I said towards the ending of my last podcast, like this is the kind of apartments, and I'm good with areas too. So some people, they have a part of wherever they want to stay. I'm like, no, don't go stay on that street. That's the hood. You don't want to go and stay there. But the apartments have a good review. I'm like, no, but that area, people die there. Don't go, So I'm good with areas. I feel like I'm just a resourceful person. So I just feel like, my knowledge of different things and living in different areas has helped with that. But I don't feel like I had any specific resource, to be honest. And always solicit advice of people who are like where you want to be. So people who may live on their own or whatever have done that maybe before marriage or anything. Just kind of ask them what their experience was. Asking people, like one thing I would ask rental offices before we moved is like, okay, if it's a 3-bedroom apartment, how much would the water bill be?
What's the expected?
Because in a house that thing can fluctuate hundreds of dollars, but in an apartment it's a lot lower. And if you stay somewhere that's an older place, your heating and cooling might be more because it consumes so much energy to even run.
Takes more work.
So it's like sometimes you don't want to stay in a nicer place because it's expensive, but the older place you might stay comes with so many more problems. So that's just out of experience that I learned those kind of things. Guys, if you have any questions, I'm the resource. I don't know where to point you on this one, but me and Kim, we're resourceful. So, we got some answers, but
we've been through it, man. We live by Excel spreadsheets though, when it comes, even though I don't care for Excel.
Google Docs
and Excel spreadsheets when it comes to apartment shopping, because you can compare the prices, you can color code things. That just helps tremendously.
And share it.
You can share it
more easily.
It helps a lot. I think us moving like within a week, that really it really leveled us up when it comes to looking into.
I don't want to ever feel that way again. That way we felt it was very stressful. because it wasn't anyone's fault per se, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, this is cause and effect. You guys have to go. So, yeah, that's what I would say. I feel like I was about to say something and I forgot.
Oh.
This will be on Kim's YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yes, right?
KP
Yes.
Sparks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
KP
there.
Sparks. Y'all
Yeah,
watching it now on YouTube.
yeah, it's just funny because I'm like, I don't know how long this is, but yeah, it's gonna be on her
No, it's
YouTube.
going to be on there.
Yeah, it's gonna be on her YouTube channel. So this is really an exclusive because yeah, I usually just do the audio podcasts.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna have it where you listen to it, and then I'll link Kim's YouTube channel as well,
Lit.
so that you can see that. So yeah, thank you so much for being transparent, sharing this for the very first
Praise God.
time. I feel like we're holding hands because this is both of our first times.
I know,
Just
right?
kind of like like this is both of our first times talking about it, and just as soon as you said like I'm ready, I was like, all right, bet. Because I'm like, I'm not about to just talk about this by myself. Like I need
Oh yeah.
our stories really kind of mesh together, and
Yeah, they're very similar.
very similar. I don't want to say
Praise
compliment because it's not a
God.
good thing, but
It's not compliments at all.
yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
very similar.
Yeah, very similar. So yeah, I just want to thank you for, joining us today on Candy with Kibo.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I will drop this in the show notes, but go ahead and like tell people where they can find you.
So you can find me, I think, on all platforms except for YouTube, KP Sparks _. All platforms include Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. And on YouTube, I am KP Sparks.
Yes. So you
Oh,
guys
and
will...
Release to Empower. So
oh yeah.
2 out of 3 Release to Empower Missing Richie, but we have an organized community together.
Yeah.
So
yes, which I mentioned on like the intro. So
okay.
No, that's fine. But yeah, so this is Kim. Yeah, she just said our other team member. So I'll go ahead and put Release to Empower in the show notes as well. So yeah,
this was fun.
It was. It's surprisingly was fun.
I know, right?
I didn't
considering the topic.
Considering the topic. So yeah. Thank you so much, Kim.
Peace and blessings.
Bye.
Bye.